I played the prequel, Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, about a year ago, and it was such a quirky RPG. The second game goes into a different direction, but it's just as fun to play through. So Turnip Boy robs a bank starts off 2 days after he killed a god in the first game. Oh, and a day after a civil war broke out. Yeah, lots of stuff happened in a really short amount of time. But anyway, Turnip Boy gets a call from a mafia pickle named Dilatini for a big job. He wants Turnip Boy to rob the biggest bank in the world with him, which leads to Turnip Boy training briefly for the job and then breaking into the bank with a gun and his old trusty sword. I knew that Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion was going to get a sequel, but I didn't really look into it after adding the game to my wishlist. So yeah, I was surprised when I played the game and it ended up being a top-down shooter that's a bit roguelike. You'll be running around the bank, shooting guards, shaking down money NPCs, stealing valuable objects, and then escaping by rushing back to the truck. The game's fast-paced, so you can't really stick around. A 3-minute timer starts counting down as soon as you arrive at the bank. If you try to stay for too long, the timer gets replaced with a GTA-style wanted level rating, so if you still insist on overstaying, you're welcome. Your wanted level starts rising, and the game becomes more difficult with all the cops showing up. It makes each run really exciting since you have to do as much as you can with a limited amount of time. When you escape and arrive at the warehouse, you can use all the money you've stolen to buy items, upgrades, and very legal stuff on the dark web. You can even recycle all the crazy weapons you've acquired from enemies in the bank to get even better guns in your arsenal. So yeah, the whole gameplay loop is about preparing in the warehouse and then robbing the bank over and over again. At first I thought I might end up becoming stale since, well, there's only so much you can explore in a bank. But I was very wrong. Dilatini wasn't kidding when he said it's the biggest bank in the world. It has so many different rooms, hallways, and floors that isn't necessarily, bank-like. But yeah, it was really cool. The more you progress in the game, the more rooms you would unlock. Since the game isn't an RPG like the prequel, I was actually surprised that it still had things from the first game, like side quests and NPCs to talk to. You'll see some familiar faces here if you've played the prequel, so it was cool seeing what they were up to after everything that's happened. The dialogue is just as funny and quirky as the first game, which made every conversation really fun to read through. Oh, and just like Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, it can get dark and messed up sometimes, despite its adorable art style, but it's never in your face. Turnip Boy and other characters do things that only get terrifying the more you think about it. But yeah, a lot of the rewards for the side quests usually involve some funny items and cute hats for Turnip Boy to wear. I didn't end up completing some of the side quests though, and it's all because of the bank's layout. It's mostly the same except for the elevators. The elevators appear in specific spots, but where they take you is randomized, so it almost never leads you to the same place in each run. This made it difficult for me to complete certain side quests because I couldn't find specific characters. It got tiring, so I just hoped that I'd run into them eventually, each time I'd start a new run and enter an elevator. But the few side quests I've done were really funny. Overall, I thought that Turnip Boy Robs the Bank is not as good as the first game, but it's still a pretty good sequel. It took me around 6 hours to beat the game, and I'd say that you can beat it in less than that. My biggest complaint about Turnip Boy Robs a Bank, though, is the final part of the game. It was crazy story-wise, but I didn't really like it as much as the first few hours. I don't want to spoil anything, but it basically makes you repeat certain things that you already did. On top of that, there's a massive difficulty spike up until you reach the credits, so be warned. I recommend Turnip Boy Robs a Bank if you enjoyed the first game, and you want more Turnip Boy. But if you've never played the original, I'm not sure if it's going to be as enjoyable, since there's a lot of spoilers and returning characters. Turnip Boy Robs a Bank is on PC, the Switch, Xbox One, and Game Pass. Let me know what you thought about the video, and thank you to my patrons at Patreon for supporting my channel. I give up on my call for action, by the way, for my previous videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.